What if the real reason you can't quit porn has nothing to do with willpower, nothing to do with dopamine, nothing to do with temptation, and everything to do with the man you believe yourself to be? What if you haven't been fighting a porn habit, but you've been fighting an identity that keeps pulling you back into the same patterns, no matter how hard you try? Today on the Rebuilt Man podcast, I'm pulling back the curtain on something almost no one in the recovery space talks about. And that's the 7 identities that keep men addicted to porn. And I promise you this today, once I expose the identity you've been operating from, you can never go back to who you were. Because when you change your identity, you change your behavior, you change your habits, and you change the outcome of your life. Today isn't about quitting porn. It's about becoming the man who no longer needs it. Guys, welcome to the Rebuilt Man podcast. My name is Coach Frank Rich, founder and host here. It has been our mission for the last 6 years to help men just like you, caught up in the depths of identity, caught up in the depths of addiction, take back control, rebuild their identities, rewire their brains, and step into a life of freedom. And if you're new to the podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on YouTube, turn those post notifications on. But brother, here's the truth. Your life will never rise above the identity that you hold about yourself. You don't wake up and try to behave in a certain way. You simply act out of alignment with the man that you believe that you are. And that's why if you see yourself as weak, you'll act weak. If you see yourself as broken, you'll act like a broken man. And if you see yourself as an addict, you're going to act like one. This is why most men fail at quitting porn. They try to change their behavior, but they never upgrade their identities. And the world has programmed men to live small, passive, and isolated lives. No mission, no brotherhood, no standards, empty, numb, and disconnected. And that disconnection creates identities that enslave them to porn. So I'm going to expose to you the 7 identities that are keeping men stuck. And then I'll show you what the rebuilt man identity is, because freedom isn't about trying harder. It's about becoming someone new. 7 identities. The first one is the victim. The victim believes that life is happening to him. Every setback becomes a story. My job is stressful. My wife doesn't understand me. My past messed me up. I've tried everything. It's just who I am. Brother, hear me on this. A man who refuses responsibility will always return to the very thing destroying him. The victim identity is keeping men addicted because it convinces them that porn is inevitable, that they have no power. But the truth is, responsibility is the doorway to freedom. The moment a man says, I created this and I can change it, everything begins to shift. So if you're struggling with the victim identity, today is your call to action to stop living from that place, because it is keeping you stuck. Identity number 2 is the lone wolf. This man believes he should be able to do this alone. He hides his struggle. He isolates when he fails. He avoids support because he's afraid of being seen. But every relapse, we know, begins exactly the same way. Isolation breeds temptation, which leads to numbness, which ultimately ends up in a relapse. And here's the deeper truth. Men don't stay addicted because they're weak. They stay addicted because they're alone. Men's lives are transformed inside of brotherhood. Shame dies when men allow the real themselves to be seen. If you are struggling with the lone wolf identity, this is your call to action to step out and step into freedom. Identity number 3 is the escapist. The escapist is the man that avoids life. He avoids discomfort. He avoids taking responsibility. He avoids addressing his emotional pain. Porn isn't the problem for the escapist. It's his avoidance that is. When life gets heavy, he runs to dopamine. When stress hits, he escapes instead of engaging. But here's the harsh truth. If a man cannot face discomfort, he cannot lead himself. Freedom starts when you stop running and start confronting the truth. If you are struggling with this escapist identity, this is your call to action to step up, step out, and begin to live and operate from a place of freedom. Identity number 4 is the nice guy. This is the guy who avoids conflict, suppresses his needs, and seeks approval from everyone around him. He says yes to things that he doesn't mean. He swallows his frustration. He lives small to keep peace in his life. And porn becomes the only place where he can feel powerful, validated, or desired. But brother, a man without boundaries will always return to his addiction. Nice guys don't heal, they implode. Freedom comes when you stop pretending and start standing on something stronger. If you're struggling with and living from the nice guy identity, this is your call to action to step up, step out, begin to operate in freedom today. Identity number 5 is the achiever, the high performer. This man is successful in business. He's disciplined in the gym. He's competent on the outside. This was me, but internally empty, restless, disconnected. He uses his achievements to fill voids that porn has been feeding for years. He treats porn like his reward, not a problem. He justifies it because he works hard. Brother, listen closely. Achievement is not the same as identity. Performance will never heal your wounds. Success doesn't fix the emptiness. At some point, the man that has achieved everything must finally face himself. And this right here changed my life. If you're struggling as an achiever, as a high performer, and it's holding you back, now is your time. This is your call to action to step up, step out, and begin to operate from a place of freedom. Identity number 6 here is the hopeless addict. This is the man that just says and accepts that I'm just wired this way. This is who I am. I'm struggle with this forever. He builds his identity around the thing that he's trying to escape from. Once you call yourself an addict, your subconsciously will always behave like one. But that's a lie. You are not powerless. Your brain can change. Your life can be rebuilt. Freedom starts when you stop labeling yourself by your lowest moments. If you're struggling as the hopeless addict, this is your time. This is the call to action to step up, step out, and begin to operate from a place of freedom. Identity number 7 is the shadow king. On the outside, he's confident, he's strong, he's put together, but on the inside, he knows he's living a double life. He knows that there's a secret struggle. He knows that he's living in private shame. He leads in the light, but collapses in the dark. But the shadow king doesn't break because of porn. He breaks because of the division within himself. The lie he tells himself is this: as long as nobody knows, I'm going to be fine. But secrecy is destroying his integrity. And integrity, my friend, is the foundation of freedom. When a man finally aligns who he is with who he pretends to be, porn loses his power. If you're operating as a shadow king, this is your time. This is the call to action to step up, step out, and begin to operate in a place of freedom. So those are the 7 identities. Pause right now and ask yourself and get clear and be honest. Which one are you operating from? Which one is holding you back? Now, once you know that, you can begin to take action. You can begin to change, and you begin to rebuild your identity. And this is what a rebuilt man is. It's the identity that every man inside our brotherhood is forming. A rebuilt man believes that I am responsible for my life. I am not alone. I belong to a brotherhood. I run towards discomfort, not away from it. I tell the truth, even when it's going to cost me something. I lead myself before I lead others. I'm a man of standards, not of emotions, and I'm becoming the man that God created me to be. The rebuilt man identity is not perfection. It's alignment. It's truth. It's discipline. It's mission. And it's brotherhood. When a man steps into that identity, porn becomes irrelevant. 3 examples from men inside of our community over the years that have stepped from one into the other. Michael was a lone wolf who spent 20 years hiding his struggle. When he joined our brotherhood, he didn't even speak for the first week. Then he started to share his story and everything changed. And the last time I spoke with him, he was 167 days plus porn free and began to lead other men. We had Daniel, who was an achiever, torn between his outward success and his inner emptiness. He realized porn was becoming his reward system. Inside the program, he built identity-driven habits, rebuilt his relationship, and said, for the first time in my life, I feel fully integrated. Chris was 35. He was a hopeless addict, operating from that identity. He believed he would struggle with this forever, but after week 3 of the Reboot Your Life, he said, I don't recognize myself anymore. I'm done calling myself an addict. I am a rebuilt man. Now he's over 2+ years porn-free without a relapse. Those stories, those examples, they're not anomalies. They're outcomes of what we call identity transformation, what we do. It's what I do better than anybody else. Walk men from one identity that's keeping them stuck into identity of freedom. Now, if you heard yourself in one of these 7 identities, that's good, because you cannot transform what you refuse to confront. Porn isn't your destiny. Shame isn't your story. Your past isn't your future. Identity is a choice, and today you get to choose something different. Brother, you're not meant to live small. You aren't meant to hide. You aren't meant to be ruled by impulses and pixels. You're meant to lead. You're meant to rise, to rebuild, to become the man you were born to be. But you can't do it alone. If something in today's episode hit home today, if you're done trying to fight this battle alone, I want to invite you to join us inside the Rebuilt Man Brotherhood on School. Inside our community, you'll get daily accountability, weekly live calls, a brotherhood of men walking the same path, coaching, tools and structure, including a 7-day reset and 12-week system, a proven path of identity transformation, and a level of support that you've never experienced before. And the best part, you can join today with a free 7-day trial. You click the link down there in the show notes below. You can step into the brotherhood. Join us at school.com, SKOOL.com/reboot your life, and begin the process of becoming the man that God created you to be. Your new identity starts now, the moment you recognize the one that's holding you back and accept the reality that you are in control of the transformation sitting in front of you. Click the link down there below. Visit us at school.com, SKOOL.com/reboot your life. And brother, I look forward to seeing you on the inside.